In this video, I'm going to show you how to use the foam roller on your legs. A lot of times when someone has low back or hip pain or tightness, part of the cause or part of the response is to develop tightness, either an imbalance or globally in the leg muscles. So when we think about releasing tension from our back and hips, working indirectly by releasing the tension in the legs might have a positive effect in, first of all, right away, how you carry your posture, your still posture, and your moving posture. So to take load off of your back, but it also might help rebalance the alignment of the bones in that posture in a way that takes workload and pressure off the back and puts it in like the weight-bearing leg muscles where it should be. Now, just because these are the things I had handy, this is a dense foam roller. It's short, but for massaging ourselves, the length doesn't really matter. This is a soft foam roller, so you can see there's a lot of squish. There are a lot of different opinions about foam rollers, and I have to say you're going to have to try for yourself to figure it out. But both are beneficial to help you the way I'm going to show you. We are staying off of any tender spots, any bony, nervous system, sensitive spots, and really just working on the belly of the muscle. So picking a pressure is just about your preference. Like, do you like a massage that was sports massage, it was like real deep and it hurts so good? Or would you prefer very light touch when you get a massage? That might guide you to then pick the soft one. That might guide you to pick one roller or the other to begin. I, of course, think it's best to own one of every single thing there is. So I'm ready for everything. Okay, we're just going to work around your leg right now. I'm going to do it really briefly. You're going to want to do each of these for a longer period of time, but I didn't want to record this like a workout, just an informational video. So my hamstrings are the muscles behind my leg. It's good for you to know that there are 3 of them that span the space from just lower than your knee up to your sit bone. Now, all of these, I'm trying to stay off the tendons. So when I say just past your knee, that little soft tissue you feel gapping that space, that is your hamstring, and that's where we're going to be really tender. So we're going to stay off the knee joint itself. At the sit bone, we have a stronger attachment point, so we might actually work all the way up to the sit bone connection itself. If you have bursitis or tendonitis of the hamstring or any inflammation there, you are not going to work up here by the sit bone because that's probably where the point of pain is. Okay, I think that's my only warning. Now, I'm going to put some load into my hands. My other knee is bent so that I can use this foot on the floor and the 2 hands to help create a push and pull sensation. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to lift my hips off the mat and kind of slide my body back and forth to create a massaging sensation. Let's see if, I don't know if you, yeah. I wore pattern pants because I was hoping when I turned my leg, you'd be able to see it better with the pattern. And so as I continue to slide forward and backwards, I'm going to gradually turn my leg so that I am making sure the pressure into the foam roller gets to each part of the hamstring at some part of my roll. Now the area I'm covering is from just above the knee where the tendon ends to about halfway up the length of my thigh. And then I'm going to reposition it closer to me. So now it starts halfway up my thigh. And then I'm just going to repeat the same thing. So now I'm working towards that sit bone. You'd still want to rotate your leg, but I'm going to leave that out for a second. So this is me going to the sit bone. So you can see it's kind of like on my butt and then back to there. Or you can just do this very small range if I scared you about that sit bone. And then again, I can incorporate just a little bit of rotation. When you're doing foam roller ring, think about the area you're covering and the sensations you're feeling. If you're feeling something very tender in an area that I haven't described, listen to that. You never know if there might be like a small sprain or tear within the tissue that needs to be left alone to heal. So any pain signal, we want to kind of back off of that because it is trying to tell you something. All right, so I got the back of my leg. Now, when we're thinking about the side of our leg, where I'm going to go next, a lot of this tissue is fascia, not muscle. You do have muscle up here, but your IT band spans this whole space where your glute medius end or your TFLN, and then it comes past your knee there too. So a lot of people feel tension here, but tension here, it isn't muscular. It's too much strain, either from the pressure of holding your posture incorrectly or from tension somewhere else, either in the quadriceps or up in the hip. So we are still going to roll it, but the idea of turning that leg is going to be really important again. Even though connective tissue runs up and down, it's seamed on the side from the quadriceps and the hamstrings. So turning the leg is going to let us get that connection, so we're hitting more muscle to get it to relax. So I'm going to turn my body onto my side. And now, sorry, get this up higher, poor positioning there. I'm sort of going to be in a forearm plank, but like be ready to manipulate and move that a little bit. The leg I'm working is going to start parallel for now, and you can position your other leg either behind it or in front of it, like this. You might have to mix that up depending on where we're going within the stretch. Okay, so I've put it pretty high right now. It's on my greater trochanter, which is like kind of like bumpy bone on the side of your leg. This is where my hip is, just if you have a sense of where I am. And then there's that bump. Okay, so there I'm not too tender. But I'm going to begin, again, to slide myself. So I'm using both my arms to push and pull back and forth. In this one, I'm doing a much smaller area at a time. And that's kind of going to be mandatory. Your arms aren't going to be able to push very far the way I've set this forearm plank. And watch as I start to turn what happens to my front leg. Okay, so I'm kind of manipulating it. My pelvis is turning, my hips hiking up a little bit. So even though I'm saying rotating my leg, I'm using all of me, even if you have to turn your shoulder to cover the area. Now, when I get lower, it's going to get more sensitive directly on the IT band. So you may want to start turned forward a little bit, where you're imagining where that seam of your quadricep, your IT band is. And then work the rotation from there. I love this too, because when I'm on that spot, I can tell the tissue of the left and the right feel very different from each other. So as you're just getting to know your body, the feeling of muscle, the feeling of fascia, here's a spot that's pretty interesting. Now, when I go to my side, I'm going to switch my leg to the back because I don't want a lot of pressure on the IT band. This is tender. Now I can load my weight into my back leg. And then as I get more towards the hamstring, even if you need to, again, take some weird day. I feel like I'm playing Twister with myself, but that's kind of the idea. I have pretty long arms. You might want to have a yoga block handy, or like maybe an old telephone book or something, just in case you need to do more adjustments than I just demonstrated. Anyway, then we would continue on down and down and down, working just past your knee. Again, avoid the knee itself. That's just not going to feel very comfortable. And the joint itself is more vulnerable because there's space. I'm going to fall into that space. All right, so the quadricep. So now I'm going to go face down. I'm switching legs, just so I'm using the one closer to the camera. Although not really. I think I'm going to do both legs at the same time. Sorry, I changed my mind. So I'm going to start with the roller near my pubic bone, and I'm going to army man crawl forward and back to get that same effect. Depending on where you've got the roller positioned, your feet might be off the ground or on the ground at different points in this. I also can come back and bend my knees a little bit and go to straight knee, bend knee. So that's like letting me do a little more of the pushing from my feet. But then when I get lower, let's just skip to there. I don't quite get my knees down if I go with that one, but you can still see the flexing of my knees lets me manipulate. So that's a little more leg heavy, or I can just keep them straight if you can support that on your arms. Now, I want you to be careful. Keep playing around with your quads. This can also be the turned in. I can also turn out. All right, so I'm still doing those rotation things. But the thing that I'm most worried about here is this sort of effect from your back. Since our low back is why we are here. When you're extended in your back like this, like you see my belly to the floor, this is putting a lot of extension into my back and might irritate if I have a disc problem in my low back or tight muscles. It'll just make the tension worse. So you really do have to treat this like a plank where you're trying to make a straight line from your head to your feet. And if that like makes you nervous that you're not, I would make an error of being up too high on this one. Like my butt up in the air a little bit keeps me a little safer and keeps my abs contracting. Okay. Yes, that's glamorous, right? Okay. So now the inner thigh muscle. I'm going to work, look that up, I forgot which leg I was doing. My bottom leg straight, in line with my body. My top leg is bent up at about a 90-degree angle, and I'm going to start with the roller near my knees, like when he's just hanging forward of it. So now, in this version, I'm going to rotate my body forward and back, pressing my leg into the roller as I twist. If you thought about this movement for my torso, I am mimicking what the roller's doing. Like I'm log rolling, turning all the segments at the same time, versus like a spiral would be like my hip and my ribs and my hip. Okay, so we're going to be stuck twisting. And that too, then you might want to move it a little closer to the pelvis. Now, as I get into the groin area, if my knee comes down here, I can't get that roller really close to me. So you gotta really tuck your knee up. I see a lot of clients kind of sliding the leg down, and it's the opposite effect. If you're gonna be wrong, off 90 degrees, be too high, and you can get more movement. Okay, so those are the 4 sides of your thigh. So we just like worked our way around all that tissue. And then you might find your calves, you just need to stretch them, like one of the stretches from our program. But because some people have trouble getting enough load onto their calves, like when we do these swings. But I'll play with that. If you felt strong in the swinging ones for your hamstrings, you're loading the weight into your arms more with the roller away from you. That also might limit you if that feels like a lot to hold, but I slide. Now, and this seems so silly, I'm gonna grab, these were the socks I was wearing before I started this video. I'm gonna sit on them, but you're gonna pretend it's like a hand towel. You might want to slide your body. I didn't do it on the hardwood floor. So if you put a towel underneath you, you can kind of glide on the ground a little bit instead of having to hold your weight up. I lose even more pressure into the roller that way though, but obviously much easier on my arms.